It's December and my subscription has arrived. Let's take a look. Your monthly subscription is here. Yay! You acquire an item, stocking full of bones. Well, I must have been naughty this year, that's for sure. Stocking full of bones? This is just like the normal stockings full of bones your parents used to hang on the mantle for you, except the bones sort of smell like ginger and nutmeg. Hatches into Skeleton of Crimbo Past. Type familiar, cannot be discarded, free pull from Hanks. Now that sounds intriguing. And it looks adorable. It's got a tiny little Santa hat. Why is it a skeleton though? Why not a ghost? I guess I'm just curious about that. Why is it a skeleton and not a ghost? Let's put it in the terrarium. You put the stocking full of bones in your familiar grow terrarium. The bones rattle like sleigh bells as they clamber out of their Crimbo stocking and assemble themselves into an ancient skeleton in a filthy gray overcoat. You decide to name him Davy Cratchit. So they're even referencing the Christmas Carol, but the Ghost of Christmas Past was cheerful and fat, so having it be a skeleton that's ragged is confusing. I mean, naming him Davy Cratchit maybe implies that he's poor or something? Like he's a downtrodden skeleton who's going to be redeemed by the story? I'm a little confused by this messaging. But let's take him with me right now. Skeletal Merchant, he's got some rare things on sale. Stranger, ho ho ho. Increases item drops from monsters, sells artifacts of Crimbos gone by, but not for meat. Now that sounds amazing, because there have been some super cool Crimbo rewards in past years that I didn't get. I mean, as long as I've been playing, I still have definitely not been playing the full 20-some years that Kingdom of Loathing has been around. So this sounds really exciting. You shake the box of familiar jacks at Davy Cratchit, who rips the box open and throws all the popcorn and peanuts and whatnot on the ground, looking for the prize. Small peppermint-flavored sugar walking crook. Man, what a cumbersome name for an object. Somebody out to come up with a punchier thing to call this. Type familiar equipment, familiar skeleton of Crimbo Past, selling price 75 meat. Find more knucklebones. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I probably want to find knucklebones in order to buy those past Crimbo things. That is a really awkward name for a familiar equipment, though. I just noticed that my Skeleton of Crimbo Past has a chat button, so I'm going to check that out. You cringe as the Skeleton of Crimbo Past opens his coat, but it turns out he just has a bunch of stuff in there to sell you. He points to an array of items with prices listed in knucklebones. What are you buying? He would doubtlessly say, in a gravelly Cockney-esque voice, if he could talk. You have 0 knucklebones. Buy a smoking pipe, buy a prize turkey, buy medical gruel, daily special aspirin. This is your garden variety buffered analgesic, an ancient tribal remedy made from tree bark and stuff. It's little, white, and different from things that are large and or not white. Type usable, cannot be discarded. This gruel is so thin that it no longer has any baseline nutritional value. All that's left is the part that builds character. Type spleen item, toxicity 1, selling price 25 meat, effect grueling gravitas, 100 adventures. Maximum hit points plus 200, maximum hit points plus 200%, plus 5 to familiar weight, regenerate 50 to 200 hit points per adventure. I guess the prize was being plucked and beheaded. Anyway, congratulations! Type food, epic, size 2, selling price 25 meat, effect tryptophan, 50 adventures, plus 50% combat initiative, plus 100% meat from monsters. It's not bad. This is a smoking bishop, but made with higher quality ingredients. Type booze, epic quality, potency 2, selling price 25 meat, effect ordained, 50 adventures, plus 50% damage versus skeletons, plus 50% item drops from monsters. So I'm getting the sense there may be more skeletons this Crimbo. None of those look like things from Crimbo Past, though, unless the aspirin is something I'm not expecting. The skeleton shrugs and closes his coat again. You take a nap and dream of sugar plums dancing. They're everywhere, they're dancing everywhere, they're all over you, you're suffocating, you're drowning in sugar plums, they're dancing down your throat and into your ears, get them off, get them out, ah, ah, ah. You wake up screaming and find a knucklebone under your pillow. You acquire an item, knucklebone. Well, that just sounds charming. Thankfully, most of the gristle has been scraped off, cannot be traded or discarded. You take a nap and have a dream about %FN, the Skeleton of Crimbo Past, coming up to your bed while you're asleep and slipping a knucklebone under your pillow. When you wake up, you find a knucklebone under your pillow, and %FN is standing there. Wait, was it all not a dream? What a strange inversion of the usual trope. You acquire an item, knucklebone. So what's interesting is that I tried sleeping in the chateau and the getaway campsite, and neither of those offered a knucklebone, and yet I come back here and I totally get a knucklebone. So, yep, there's another knucklebone. You take a nap and have one of those awful teeth falling out dreams, except instead of your teeth, it's your fingers. They all just kind of pop off, and what are you going to pick them up with? When you wake up, you find a knucklebone under your pillow. Fortunately, all of yours are accounted for. So I didn't keep track, but it was only the first so many resting in my campsite that got me knucklebones. Actually, I can find out how many. Let's go check. 5. It was the first 5 times sleeping in my campsite that got me knucklebones. Everything after that doesn't seem to make a difference. The skeleton of Crimbo Past shuffles along behind you in a way that sort of reminds you of a fairy dancing, even though it's absolutely nothing like that. Ooh, there we go. The skeleton of Crimbo Past picks something up off the ground and tosses it to you. Ugh, it's an old knucklebone. Creepy. You acquire an item, knucklebone. The skeleton of Crimbo Past, whom you have nicknamed Davy Cratchit, silently gestures at a loose knucklebone lying on the ground. You acquire an item, knucklebone. So I've used up most of my free fights for the day, and I've gotten 24 knucklebones, which is enough to buy the consumables for sure, and a good chunk of the way towards buying the aspirin. But luckily for me, all of these look tradable, which means I'm heading to the mall. Let's start with the Smoking Pope. You consume the Pope and are thus ordained. You gain 18 adventures. So no knucklebones or anything. Okay, let's eat a prize turkey. You eat the turkey. It's pretty good, but you can't help but think it'd be better if you had cooked it first. Ugh. You consumed an entire raw turkey and now you want more meat and you want it now. Okay, medical gruel. You take a deep breath, tip back the bowl, and drink the gruel in one mighty gulp. It nourishes your spirit and makes you feel remarkably resilient. I mean, that does look pretty resilient. Your character has been built up to epic proportions, making you much hardier and inspiring to your peers. And last but not least, let's use the aspirin. You put the aspirin under your tongue and let it dissolve. Tastes nasty, but man is it effective. You gain 3,309 hit points. That was really underwhelming. 87 knucklebones to do the same thing that the VIP room can do? Wow, I am so disappointed. None of those things had anything to do with Crimbo Past. 87 knucklebones to heal all my hit points? And once again, none of these things have anything to do with Crimbo Past. So what's that about? Wow. Why would I bother collecting these things? And also talk about false advertising. I am super disappointed trying to figure out if I even want to adventure with this guy anymore. Yikes. Sells artifacts of Crimbo's Gone By. So according to the wiki, the aspirin was a Crimbo 2005 advent calendar item. Which makes sense. In 2005, that's super cool. In 2025, this is not. First impressions. This guy sounded so cool when I read about him, and now he's just another thing that I'm going to struggle to remember to check, because the only items he sells from Crimbo Past, it looks like, are one randomly chosen item per day. And it's not just the cool stuff like warehouse keys. It's also advent calendar items like aspirin. So there's 365 chances per year at a cool item. And I mean, fair, the epic quality food and drink are good, and I probably will use those, at least in run. After I've defeated the naughty sorceress, there's no reason to check. I was so excited, and now it's just another thing to try to remember to look at. And I just know the way I play that I'm not going to catch the warehouse keys. It's going to be aspirin every time, because I only remember to check things on, the days when I've got time to play. And otherwise I'm just running a script that isn't going to look at stuff like this. Wow, that's so disappointing. One artifact of Crimbo Gone By per day. And remember, there's over 20 Crimbos worth of content, and each Crimbo introduced who knows how many items. And is it just advent calendar stuff, or is it other things? I mean, it's probably other things too, but man, oh man. I think it's just hard because I was really excited about artifacts of Crimbo's Gone By. Like, that sounded really, really cool. And I thought maybe the aspirin was something that you used to get one of these artifacts of Crimbo's Gone By, but no, the aspirin itself is the artifact of Crimbo Gone By, and it's been power crept, and I don't want it. And of course the knucklebones are untradeable, so if I'm not using this familiar, which why would I, normally speaking, then I'm not going to have the 87 or whatever. It looks like it's a large number of knucklebones if I even notice that a cool item that I actually want has come around. Yeah, first impressions on this one are rough. This feels like another item added to the game, so I have fear of missing out, fear of missing the day that there's something really cool on offer. And even if there is something really cool on offer, chances are I won't be able to afford it, because why would I be playing with the Skeleton of Crimbo Past on days when it's stuff like aspirin? Yeah, I'm bummed about this one. The gap between the advertising and what it actually does is quite huge. We'll see how it goes in the days to come. Thank you very much for watching.